What's up everybody? In this video I'll be ranking all of the main submissions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling. And I won't be just using my own experience, I'll also be using what I see with my students. And obviously it's going to be a little bit of a subjective ranking. Some submissions fit better for me than it would for some others. But I'll try to give a good, complete overview, not just keeping my own body type in mind, but also working with what I see with the students. Okay, we're going to work with the alphabetical order, and we're going to start with one of the first moves you're going to learn, the Americana. Americana is a classic jiu-jitsu move. I think it was invented in the 60s by some American wrestler, and they named it after him. And it's a great move to start learning jiu-jitsu, but at a higher level you rarely see it. Only situations where you'll see it is if somebody's a lot heavier than the other person. Gabi Garcia would hit them. Natalie Porfirio would also do them quite a lot, but at a high level, similar weight, similar size, not too often. So we're gonna put the Americana in the below average category. All right, next one, Anaconda. Great strangle, super powerful. I didn't always respect it too much, but one of our pro MMA fighters, Shaq, he's over the last few months, years, he's really mastered it. So now I respect it quite a bit more, so we're going to put this in the B category, good submission. Next submission we're going to look at the Aoki lock. Super powerful variation of the foot lock. Only problem is people can usually spin out of it. If it gets caught, it's very, very nasty. It attacks more of the knee and the inside of the foot than it does the actual, the classic straight ankle lock way. So very dangerous, but not always the easiest to control. So we're going to put this in the average category. Next up, we got the arm triangle. Another classic, super powerful submission from mount. Not always to get the finish, but great to use as a setup as well. I like it a lot. Again, not just to finish, but also to use it as a setup, a way to go to the back. So arm triangle, we're gonna put in the B category, good submission. All right, next up, the armbar. This is a submission I always had a lot of difficulty with, but it's super powerful. If you look at the highest level, Mika Galvão, for example, is great with the arm lock. And it's a submission you can do from a lot of positions. From mount, from close guard, from open guard, top and bottom, from the back. So this is a very strong submission, high percentage as well. You see this get finished a lot at the highest level. So we're gonna put this in the A, excellent category. All right, that brings us to the banana split. This is a hip stretching submission, and even though you don't see it often, it's actually legal from white belt on. So if you learn this as a white belt, you can definitely surprise a lot of people because they think it's illegal, but as a white belt you can actually do this kind of submissions. It's just not very high percentage, you don't see it a lot. Better option from there would probably be going to the back, so we're going to put this in the below average category. Next up, one of my personal favorites when I was a blue belt, the baseball choke. Back in these days, Majid H, now he's more of a no-gi half-guard guy. Back when I was a blue belt, he was the gi guy and he only did baseball chokes. He would do them from top, from bottom. He would let people pass to get the baseball choke. And it's quite powerful. Only problem is when people get a little bit better, they learn how to defend it. And as you get the baseball choke, you let them pass your guard, you're also going to expose your arms quite a bit. So I don't like this too much anymore. I used to do it quite a lot, but as my training partners, my opponents got better, it's just too risky. So I'll put this in the below average. Gogoplata. Zhao Miao, if I say this correctly, I think Zhao is doing this quite a lot these days. Nice submission, works really well off the triangle, but Zhao has a lot of entries from top, from bottom, jumping entries from the back. So it's a powerful submission, you just don't see it a lot. So I'll put this in the C category. It has some nice potential, but yeah, you just don't see it often enough. Of course, Zhao is very good and he can hit it, but unless I see it get hit often at a high level, I wouldn't put it any higher than average. Bicep Slicer. Okay, Bicep Slicer, nice way to set things up, I guess. You don't want to take too much risks. One of my training partners, Alwyn, he likes this a lot. But also another submission you see often at the highest level. And if you go for the trickier entries, I think you're going to give up a lot of bad positions as well. So for the Bicep Slicer, we'll put it below average, D category. Okay, then we have the bow and arrow. Bow and arrow, beautiful move from the back where you hold the collar, you hold the leg as well, get some nice torque on the body. Only problem with it is you're gonna give a little bit more space than you would if you just go for the collar choke. That's why you also see it a little bit less at the highest level. It's a nice submission, but there are better options from the back. I wouldn't personally make the transition to the bow and arrow if I didn't have to. So bow and arrow we're gonna put in the D category, below average. Okay, then the cross collar from the front. Cross collar choke is a great submission. You can do it from mount, you can do it from the close guard. Somebody that really popularized this was Roger Gracie, true master of the collar choke, and he said, I only learned the collar choke really well after I got my black belt. So good submission if you're training in the gi. This one should be one you master, and we're gonna put this in the A category, great submission. Okay, now the cross collar choke from the back. I already talked about it a little bit with the bow and arrow. The cross collar choke from the back is the best submission in the gi. If you look at the percentages, this is by far the submission that gets hit the most often if you're competing in the gi. So we're gonna put this in the S category. You take a lot less risk than you would if you do the bow and arrow, and it's just a very high finishing percentage. Then we have the DARS. DARS, similar to the Anaconda. With the Anaconda you look on the arm side, with the DARS you look on the neck side. Okay, DARS is very, very hard to escape. You'll see a lot of the very high level guys get tapped by this. Ethan Cranston recently got tapped by this as well. The Rotodos love doing this. It's a very strong submission, strong control as well. You just have to be a little bit careful that you don't get your back taken off the counter. We're gonna put the DARS in the A category, excellent. All right, next up, the electric chair. Now, I don't know a lot of people that do this, but the people I know that do it are very good at it. And if you train with my friend Case, for example, even if you're high level, there's a big chance he already tapped you with that electric chair. Nasty submission from half guard, and if it goes wrong, you can very badly injure your knees, your hips. One of my first competitions, I came into the building and like somebody got carried off with a stretcher by the ambulance. And he severely injured his knees off this move. So it can be effective. It's not the style of half guard I like to play, and it can be quite dangerous if people don't know how to defend. So I don't like it too much. It can work. I'll put it in the below average category. Okay, next up the Estima lock. Very nasty submission. I think invented by Braulio Estima and popularized by Victor. Or the other way around, one of the Estima brothers figured it out. It's like a towel, but you use your belly to set it up. I've used it in a competition, it's nice. Problem is people will usually spin out of it quite quickly. So especially at a high level, you won't have enough time to actually control them and hold them for long enough to get the tap. But you can definitely get some pops. That's what I noticed when I got to black belt. People don't just tap to it anymore. They'll eat the pops, they'll spin out, and even though their foot's gonna hurt a little bit, they're gonna continue to fight. So I wouldn't focus on it too much. It is a nice threat to have, but hard to finish. I'm gonna put this in the average category. All right, then we have the footlock. And this is one of my personal favorites. I learned this when I was a blue belt. My coach Thiago came by to the Netherlands. He taught a seminar at the Checkmate Amsterdam. And from that moment on, it became a big part of my game. I got known for being a footlocker. We have this video of me beating a guy that's a lot heavier than me using the footlock. And I've used it a lot in competition. Also more recently, when hooks became legal in IBJJF, it's been a great staple of me, combining the footlock with the hook. I even made an instructional about it, and it's always available. If you're playing guard, if you're on top, wouldn't recommend falling back for it, but the footlock is a great submission to have, great control as well. It's going to be a little bit more controlling than the hook. It's a biased opinion, but I'm going to put this in the S tier. Great submission, and yeah, must know also if you're combining it with hooks. Okay, then we have the Gogoplata. Gogoplata, popularized by the 10 planet system, and it's a move that requires quite a bit of flexibility. It's a little bit dangerous for your hips and for your knee. It can work as a threat, but yeah, I don't like it too much. I feel people can escape out of it usually. With the danger of the knees, I'm going to put this in the F tier. All right. We also have the Guillotine, another of my favorites. I started learning the footlock, people started becoming aware of it, and instead of giving their feet, they're going to hide their feet and they're going to give their neck away. So these days, I'd say the Guillotine is the submission I do most often. And the guillotine is great because you can do it from anywhere. If you're playing guard, you can do it. If you're passing the guard, you can do it. If you're standing, you can do it. From side control, from mount. There's so many ways to use it, and not just as a submission, but you can use it to pass, to sweep, to transition to the back. So for me, the guillotine, absolute S tier, great submission, and everybody should learn at least 1 or 2 good variations of the guillotine. S tier for me. All right, then the heel hook. Over the last few years, this became the most successful submission, at least in the ADCC rule set, where it used to be the rear naked choke that got the most submissions. Now it's the heel hook. Super powerful submission. If you don't tap, you're out for months. You can even get retired by not tapping to a heel hook. So an absolute dangerous threat you have to respect, even if you're flexible. Often available, you don't need to be on the back to finish it. You can just enter it from guard, you can enter it from top. Yeah, this is going to be a S tier for me. All right, next up we have the Kimura. Another good submission, also available from a lot of positions. So you can do it again from top, from bottom, from side control, from the back, towards the back, sorry. A lot of great options for the Kimura, a lot of good transitions as well. Only problem is there are some nice counters to it as well. People can take your back off the Kimura, people can take over the Kimura from you. So even though it's very available, it's a little bit easier to counter in my opinion. So we're going to put this a little bit below the guillotine. We're going to put this in the A tier. All right, the knee bar. Not a submission I like to do a lot, but a lot of my teammates do. Marcelo Faust is great with it. Caio Vitorino is super good with the knee bar. He actually gave me a lot of great tips recently. I just feel it's a little bit easier to escape than the heel hook. Getting a rotation, opening the knees, it does lead to other good submissions, but it's not as strong, as high percentage as a heel hook would be. So for me, the knee bar, good submission, not as good as a heel hook. We're going to put this in the good tier, the B tier. Okay, then the north-south. If you find somebody that's really good at this submission, you have to respect it. It's a great move, but it's just very, very, very hard to learn. I know a few people who are good at this, my coach Thiago, Marcelo Garcia, and more nearby, Patrick from Rotterdam. It's a good submission, it's just extremely hard to learn. I have a lot of difficulty learning it myself and also a lot of difficulty teaching it, especially if you're going against somebody your weight or even stronger than you. Yeah, I'm going to put this in the below average tier. It's a very hard submission to learn. Okay, next up the Omoplata. Now, how you look at the Omoplata will depend a lot if you're training gi or no gi. In gi, it's a great submission, also a great way to transition to other positions. You can take the back of it, you can attack arm bars of it. Great starting position to set up your attacks. In no gi, Omoplata really doesn't work. People can always spin out of it, they can use it as a transition for their own good. And usually when people go for Omoplatas, they actually lose. They get out of the scramble worse than they came into it. So for no gi it would be a F, for the gi it would be good. I'll put this in the average category. Okay, then the rear naked. Used to always be the king of submissions in no gi. Like we talked about recently, got overtaken by the heel hook. But still extremely good submission. If you can work your way to the back, this is the one thing you should look for. It's a little bit less available than guillotines or heel hooks, but it's extremely high percentage. So rear naked choke has to be S tier. All right, then we have the smother. Smother is using your chest to close somebody's mouth and nose. Super annoying. Wouldn't say it's a high percentage submission. It is good as a transition, but since we're rating submissions here, I'd say below average. Okay, then the Tarikoplata. Great way to attack the Kimura. It's like a Kimura variation using your legs. I actually picked it up through a private class with Tarek Hopstock back when I was either a blue or purple belt. And it's very powerful, especially if you're a little bit smaller, your training partners are bigger. Instead of using just your arms against their arm, which can be hard, you're using your arm and your legs to attack the Kimura. So great submission. I'll put this in the excellent tier. Okay, then the toe hold. Toe hold is extremely nasty submission. If you don't tap, you're going to get injured severely. It's going to hit your foot, it's going to hit your knee. You used to see this, or you still see this a lot in the gi. If you look at like lower weight finals, watch the Miaos or the Mendes brothers or Cobrinha, they'll rip tolls on each other just to get an advantage and they don't tap. Very nasty. A little bit harder to finish than the heel hook. People can usually spin out of it. We'll put it in the good category. All right, next up we have the triangle. Triangle, great submission, super powerful. You're using your legs to strangle somebody, two strong body parts against their neck and arm. Available from a lot of positions. You can jump in it from top, you can do it from standing, most often would be from guard. Only problem is in no-gi, it's a little bit easier to defend, especially if you don't set it up perfectly well, really breaking somebody down. You're gonna see a lot of people slipping out of the triangle. So in the gi, I would say it's S tier. No gi, I would say it's a good submission, B tier. We'll take the middle and we'll put it in the A tier. All right, another 10 Planet favorite, the twister. Put some nasty pressure on the spine. But similar to the banana split, this isn't the best option if you're close to the back. I would just recommend going to the back instead of putting a lot of effort into this move. You're gonna give usually a bit of space as well to escape. I don't like it too much, we'll put it in the F tier. Actually, banana split, I'll also move down to the F tier. It's the same idea. Instead of going for the back, you go for a lower percentage submission. No, we'll put those both in the F tier. Okay. Wrist lock. Wrist lock is a move I basically only do on fresh blue belts to see if they know the rules about what they can do at blue belt. I'll use it sometimes to threaten some other attacks. It's very hard to hit in competition. I think I did it once at blue belt, maybe again at brown, but I'm not sure about that. Hard to hit in competition, but a nice way to bully the blue belts if you're into that kind of stuff. Yeah, you shouldn't spend too much time on the wrist locks. You should be aware of them. You should know how to identify the threats, but not something you should spend a lot of time on. So we'll put this in the below average. I just noticed I forgot the buggy choke. I'll put it in now. Buggy choke, I don't like it at all. If you're very flexible, you can do it, but I've seen too many of my students and also online videos, people injuring themselves, hurting their knees. So I would always recommend against the buggy choke. Of course, it's a nice secret move to have, but so far I haven't been tapped by it. It's very dangerous for your knees. I would say F tier. All right, there you have it. All of the most common submissions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling. Again, subjective, but I try to not use just my experience, but also from what I see with the students. If you disagree or agree, please let me know in the comments, and we might have a nice discussion there. I'll make another video. Hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Oh, and if you figured out another submission I did not discuss, if you invented your own submission or I just forgot an important submission, also let me know in the comments and I'll do some extra research into that one. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys later.